What's going on, everybody? Jeff Holiday here, and today we are going to be looking at a couple of news stories involving kids. It's an unfortunate thing that sometimes I have to talk about on this channel, but here we are, and I'm more than happy to do so because these are usually very important topics. A lot of times there's a bit of a teachable moment in here as well. So, let's begin. I would like to introduce you to the Noah McAdams case. Now, this has been going on for a few months, but the recent developments have led me to want to speak out about it. Also, when it was originally developing, I figured that there was probably going to be a bit more to the story, so I kind of held off. This is the most recent development. Parents lose custody of 4-year-old son after refusing to complete his chemotherapy. Parents Taylor Bland Ball and Joshua McAdams remain without custody of their 4-year-old son after a Florida judge ruled they should not have ended his cancer treatments. Noah McAdams was diagnosed with leukemia in April, but during a chemotherapy session, his mother allegedly pulled the needle from his arm, and the family fled from his home in Florida to Ohio, seeking alternative medical treatment. They believed chemotherapy had harmful side effects. When they missed their son's chemotherapy session, authorities got suspicious. They were tracked down in Kentucky and returned to Florida. Miss Bland Ball testified that she had no training on how to remove a PICC line. She explained during the trial that she is still comfortable removing it because she had watched a YouTube video on how to do it, said Judge Thomas Palermo, who is overseeing the case. The couple said they would rather give their son non-traditional treatments, including oxygen therapy, CBD oil derived from hemp plants, and a special diet. That is, despite research showing 98% of this type of leukemia goes into remission within the first few weeks of chemotherapy treatments. So despite the fact that overwhelmingly kids with this type of leukemia and going through this type of treatment make it, their cancer goes into remission. Like, we've gotten so good at treating this type of childhood leukemia that our success rate is astronomically high. But despite that it's probably going to work, the parents then decide to take their kid, flee with their child, not suspicious at all, first of all, and then go to get him oxygen therapy, CBD oil derived from hemp plants, and put him on a special diet, and that's going to cure him. Florida law allows the state to provide medical treatment to children even if the parents object. The judge granted temporary custody to the child's maternal grandparents, but the state has the option of returning him to his parents in the future. And that's another really important part about this case, is that the judge didn't just simply, take this little boy away from his parents. He's with family. He's given custody over to the grandparents, and they're taking care of him. But that's not the way that it's going to be phrased when these people start getting agitated and trying to get attention in the media.
Why won't you let us take our son and go our way?
Mom recognizes that they are in largely uncharted waters.
Because there's still so many side effects that he could have for the rest of his life from chemotherapy. And these other options that we're considering, they don't have proven studies that they are necessarily as effective yet, but they do have way less side effects.
But what if he did not make it to even remission through holistic medicine? Do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have considered that, and that would be something that we would have to live with for the rest of our lives.
Oh, how noble. I see. If you don't help and treat your little boy's cancer and he ends up dying, you would have to live with that for the rest of your lives. Kind of an ironic turn of phrase, wouldn't you say? You'd have to live with it for the rest of your lives. He'd be dead, so I guess he wouldn't. He'd be off the hook, right? That's a... But as is very common in these types of cases, it's become a bit of a media circus. Mother posted emotional message after judge denied custody of 4-year-old with leukemia. Keep in mind, again, this little boy is under the custody of his grandparents because his parents are idiots. But of course, mother posted this message to the judge. Are you going to be there rubbing his back at 2 a.m. when he's up crying, his belly hurts and puking, she wrote. No, the grandparents will be, but... Are you going to explain to him why his beautiful long hair is coming out in chunks? Are you going to hold him and make him smoothies and juices when his mouth hurts so bad from methotrexate sores he can barely eat? She also asked the judge if he would lie with Noah when the boy is too tired to get out of bed. Would he rub Noah's feet when he's experiencing neuropathy? Would he take the bites, punches, kicks, and screams when Noah suffers a mental breakdown? In a photo that accompanied the Instagram post, Bland's eyes were closed and she was holding her closed left fist against her mouth. The number 133 was written in red ink on her fist, an apparent reference to the number of nights Noah's parents had been without him. But again, this is all pageantry. This is all a circus because the kid is in the custody of his family, just not his wingnut mother or father. Now, full disclosure, chemotherapy is not a very nice treatment. It can make people pretty sick. And they're not wrong in that there can be lasting side effects. Sure. But the thing is that when children, especially those that they're treating this type of leukemia, which is very, very successful, 98% success rate, these kids usually make full recoveries in that they don't have, traditionally speaking, long-term side effects. There might be some here and there, sure, but it's proven save your kid's life, or unproven, and they might die, and then you're just going to have to live with the consequences. Oh, well, I mean, it's really easy to say I can live with the consequences when you're not the one who's going to die. That's all I want to say on that. But by all means, I don't think people should be naive when it comes to chemotherapy. Do know what you're getting into, but also, if that's your best option, it's probably your best option. You should probably do that. And if it's for your kid, it's kind of your fucking responsibility. That's just me, though, you know? Anyway, the next thing that I want to talk about real quick to flesh out the rest of this video is a bit of an update on an earlier story. I covered this a while back, and it's a very, very sad story, but, well, it just got a little bit sadder, too. David and Colette Stephan found not guilty in 2012 death of son. This is a very infuriating story. An Alberta mother and father who treated their ill son with herbal remedies rather than get him medical attention have been acquitted in the boy's death. The courtroom in Lethbridge, Alta, somewhere in Canada, erupted into cheers when a judge ruled Thursday that David and Colette Stephan were not guilty of failing to provide the necessities of life to 18-month-old Ezekiel, who died in 2012. An 18-month-old, year-and-a-half-old little boy with meningitis. And they did not take him to the doctor. They tried to treat him with herbal remedies. The Stephans did not know Ezekiel had meningitis, but were alert to the possibility and monitoring the symptoms, Clarkson said before releasing a full written decision. The meningitis Ezekiel had was viral, and he did not die from meningitis, but from a lack of oxygen. Yet if he was in the hospital for his meningitis because he was obviously incredibly sick, then he would not have died from a lack of oxygen, but I digress. Colette Stephan cried as she hugged her husband. Outside court, she gave him a kiss before he spoke to reporters. It was an emotional roller coaster. We didn't know what to expect today. It is the right decision. Of course he thinks so, because now he doesn't have to go to jail. It is shocking because it's been 7 years of our lives fighting this, so it has become part of our identity. It's just a beautiful thought that we can move on with our lives. I'm glad you can. Ezekiel, again, cannot. It was the second trial for the Stephans, who were found guilty by a jury in 2016. The Supreme Court of Canada set aside the conviction and ordered a new trial. David Stephan said the verdict has renewed his faith in the legal system. Oh, well, thank God his faith in the legal system has been restored. Oh, man. Whew. And reaffirms protection of parental rights. It is the parents' right to kill their kid, isn't it? You know? Sorry, I misspoke. To allow their child to die by not seeking out professional medical treatment, allegedly. Stephan, who represented himself in the second trial, said he will seek legal costs, which he earlier estimated at $1.2 million. So now he gets to sue and get money out of people trying to hold him to account for letting his kid die in agony from meningitis. Okay, that's good. For those watching the trial, the evidence simply wasn't there, said defense lawyer Sean Buckley, who represented the couple in the first trial, and Colette Stephan in the second trial. So yeah, there you go. Sometimes the system works, and a little boy with leukemia is going to get the treatment that he needs. And sometimes, idiots who cause their child to die get off scot-free and are probably going to be able to sue and get a lot of money. Now, I'm going to try and not be too much on my soapbox about this one, but it is very simple. It needs to keep being restated because this kind of shit keeps happening. If your kid's sick, there are limits to the point in which, okay, my kid is officially so sick, I need to take him to the damn doctor. If they're running an incredibly high fever, anything over like 101, like the kid needs to go to the emergency room. Children cannot communicate with you effectively the same way that you can how sick they are. Very commonly, that's not a way that they can do it, especially very young kids like we're talking about in this. One is 4 years old, one was a year and a half. And if you're a parent, it's your responsibility to take care of these children. And if those children do not make it or they suffer unnecessarily, it's your fault. It's your fault. What are you going to tell some 4-year-old? Buck up, kiddo. Do better next time. What the fuck? No, you can't do that. That's not how this works. That's not how parenting works. It's your fault. It's your responsibility. You need to do that. So please, by all means, for the love of your children, if you're in a situation like that, go to the damn ER, please. So I'm sorry to depress you guys a little bit, but I do hope your family is well. Mine's doing great. So from mine to yours, I hope you have an awesome day, and take the very best care of those that are the most important to you. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.